Okay, welcome to another episode here at the workshop. Actually, no, it's not a workshop, it's my office, to be honest with you. But I want to go through the configuration of the power supply before I going over to the computer and make a drawing out of it. Let me warn you, this stuff is just downward dangerous. Just don't do it at all. This is not cool. This is the stuff you can actually be seriously harmed of or even potentially died of. I'm not taking any responsibility for your own actions. Just don't do it. This video, I want to share what I've done. I'm not teaching you how you do it, but I will make a schematics of it and share it with you. But you are warned. Just don't do this. I searched for a consultant on the stuff that I didn't knew, and I will do so in the future. But let's go over just a little bit on what I have here. So I do have on the front side, I do have the amp meter, the volt indicator, the USB charger, and a switch, and an LED. And then we have some screws here for the plus side and the negative. So it is negative or ground, and then it is 12 volts. I'm also using the 5 volt here on the USB. So on this power supply, it is a 20 pin ATX power supply. So on the drawing of the schematics of on ATX 20 pin, it is the red wire that you see here. So then it goes into like a junction, which because of the amps, so I'm using 6 wires of the 5 volt. Then it's been steeled. Then it goes into the red one that is going into the positive side on the USB. So then the next part of the project is basically the ground. The ground is going directly into the lug, the screw up here. So that was actually the easy part. Then we also have multiple grounds. So the ground is actually going on the amp meter. It goes into the blue wire, and the ground is going into 3. I don't know if you can see it, but it goes into the ground of the switch, the ground of the USB, and the ground into the volt indicator. And from there we also have a ground. So it is a little bit messy here, but we were limited by time at the end and resources. We had to do it this way, but I might refine it just a little bit later. So now you know all of the ground to the switch, the USB, and the volt. So this goes in like a loop here. So and then the next thing is the ground. Sorry about that. The ground is going into the shunt, which is actually important because I'm going to explain it a little bit how it works. So it goes in here, and then it goes another wire to the ground. Believe it or not, it's a yellow wire into the LED and stuff like that. Okay, so that is the ground setup. The next thing is the amp meter, because that was the one that was most difficult to do, and this is precisely why I reached out for expert help. So what it is, it goes the positive for this one, a positive screw on the other side, which is brown. In this case, we were again limited by resources, but now I'm kind of know next time what to do. That is also the purpose of making this project is actually also to learn from it, so on how I can do it better next time, but also learn a little bit how electronic works. So this was very much a very successful video. So I'm for the most part, using this video as my own documentation. But again, just don't do what I did. This is dangerous. You're dealing with 18 amps here. And yeah, 13.8 volt, 12 volt. Okay, so let's explain about the plus here. We will come back to this one because this one is important. So the brown wire goes into the shunt, which goes forward to the screw, but from this one we don't need it, and there's another wire, well, it's actually this one we don't need. So the 16 volts goes into this one that is distributed on the 12 volt goes into this one that's going into the red and the orange, because I want a red display, so I'm using the orange wire or the red wire. I don't remember this one. I don't remember which one is who for the plus or the, yeah. Okay, so the next one is going, after that goes into this one, into the shunt. And then there is another one. Yeah, then it goes into the positive of the volt over to a 220 ohm resistor to the LED. So this is just how it works, kinda. There is a plus wire on the USB charger that is going into this one. This one is no, the 5 volt one. Yeah, sorry. And what the latest one I have is the green wire, because that is a power supply sense on wire, which is connected to the computer. So basically that button is actually on the power button on your stationary computer. It is a sense wire only. So basically what it does on the power supply to make it believe that it is in a computer, I put a switch to shorten the ground and the sense wire, and that is how this one thinks it is in a computer, but it is in reality cannibalized and used for other purposes. So this is how it is. It looks a little bit messy, but hopefully I explained everything. And unfortunately, I had to do it this way because of time and resource. I thought I planned everything out until the first power supply gave out a nice blue smoke. Somehow we believe it was a manufacturing error. So because it has a variable voltage on the 12 volt line, it was jumping from 12 to like 6 and then 4 and then 8 and then up again several times during a minute, and of course restart. But we think this is working, and I used a ceramic resistor to give it a load, and it actually worked. So it gave out a negative 3.25 amps on a 15 watt resistor. 8 ohm, 15 watt. So I just shorted over and it got hot on my fingers, so yeah. Welcome back to my computer. It's actually the works computer that I am doing on right now. I just want to go over the schematics that I made. I'm using Microsoft Paint because it's a great tool. But I try to visualize everything. So let's go over through the schematics here and have everything defined what it is before I am going over all of the wires and all that kind of stuff. So we do have the power supply in the top left corner with the text explaining what each of the color is. So the red one is 5 volt, the power supply on sense wire. That is important because that tells the power supply to like start. Then you have the 12 volt, which is the yellow, and then you have the ground, which is of course the black. And then I'm having some loops over each wire here, as you're seeing on the drawings. That means that the wire is not touching the underlying color. You will see that on multiple places in different colors as well. The orange wire on the amp meter is for only defining what color you are using. So orange wire for me on this specific part gives red color in the displays. If I'm using the yellow wire on the plus on the 12 volt, that it gives orange light. The next after that is that there is some colors on each device, particularly the LED, which is red here, yellow there, black there. That means that this wire, this yellow wire from the LED that is placed by the manufacturer is the ground wire, and the red wire from the manufacturer is defined as the 12 volt wire in this case. So the positive side is 12 volt, and the negative side is the black one. I try to make things as good as possible, but it's been a little bit difficult. So at the end of the wire that goes into a screw, that goes actually to the radio. So the brown is the plus to the radio that goes into the red wire on the radio, and then you're having the black wire from the radio to the black one on the panel. The shunt here is part of the amp meter, so it was not a separate purchase. You do see some numbers on each of the item, and if you live in Norway, you will understand what these numbers are. So this is the part number that I got on Biltema car theme. So the voltmeter has the part number 43222. The amp meter that does include the shunts has the number 25A099. And the USB charger, it's not a charger, it's more like USB port, has a number 258803 from Biltema. Then you're having the LED, which is a 12 volt LED, which has the number 43871. Then you're having a switch which has 3 plugs on it, but I draw out only 2 of them because the switch also has a built-in LED, but I want to use the external LED, so that one is not drawn here on the computer. We do have a resistor of 220 ohm that goes on the plus wire on the LED, and so on and so on. Okay, so let me just basically explain what it is not. So all I have done is just to trace out the wires
where it currently sits. It does not meet up into any junction box or anything like that. It just doesn't do that. I'm only telling that, okay, that this wire is the 5-volt one that goes into the USB port. That's it. It doesn't tell how thick the wire is, if there are any other junction and any other like that. The red here doesn't mean that the red is going over here. It goes on separate lines. So there are some thick wires that has been used. This black end and the brown end goes into this screw that is placed on the front panel. Again, I've seeked. All right, so let's talk a little bit more serious here. I've seeked expert advice on this setup. I only did what I felt I was comfortable with. I'm emphasizing this again. Just do not do what I did. This is dangerous. This can, in worst case, you could die from this because it's a lot of amps and a little bit more than I was comfortable with at the end. So I learned a very valuable lesson here to just be careful. If you don't know what to do, just seek expert advice from people that has done this before. I learned tremendously a lot from this project. So now I know a little bit more on what you should do. And there is one thing I'm saying here. Under absolutely no circumstances should you open the power supply and just mess around in there. Because there, on a switch mode power supply, you have some very, very huge capacitors, and those can discharge unbelievably amount of power in a very, very short time. People has been seriously injured of those. And some people even might have died. So just don't do that. Do I have a power supply here? Yes, I do. Under no circumstances open this one. It was done yesterday under expert supervision, and this is dangerous. Just don't do it. This one is fried. I cannibalized wires and all that, or what I could from it. But just this is not cool. Not cool at all. I hope I will include this picture in the video, but I hope you learned from it, and hopefully this video can be some inspirational project that I didn't thought about. I'm very proud of what I have done here on this project. I learned a lot of stuff, but also going to be a power supply that I'm going to use. I did prepare as good plan as possible, but when the power supply gave out blue smoke, then my plan just was ripped apart. Basically, we had to figure out how to do things in other ways. It took, I would say, at least 4 hours to go to make a new plan to execute and just build a power supply. We struggled a lot because of time, and we also resources wise, because we had to start from scratch again. So the power supply that we are using here is a 500 watt one, and it was tested with up to 3.8 amps. So how much that will be on the 9 amp one load, I don't know, but it's definitely going to be cool. And will I build one again with the amount of compared to what amount of money that I used? Probably not, but it was fun. It was a little over $100 with parts. I could probably purchase a new power supply for, I don't know, $200, and still have full warranty, which this project is a complete lack of when it comes to warranty. But it was a fun project, and it was very cool. And also could meet up with a former coworker of mine and just basically talk, to enjoy the work that we are doing and stuff like that. When it comes to my former coworker, he's a former teacher. He's retired now, and he lives home with his wife and enjoying the days. But I'm also trying to tempt him to take the radio amateur course, and I hope I can succeed on that, because everything that he knows of when it comes to electronics is directly related to the hobby that I have. I gave him the book, and so he could read on it to attempt it. Maybe he's watching this video for all I know. But anyway, there is a course in Oslo in fall, and I hope that he will be a student of that course. I'll be joining in on the first couple of times when he is taking the lesson, and let's just work from there. So that is a big project. But anyway, I think I've been told enough when it comes to this video. But if you're gonna do it, just be careful. And I think this will be enough for this time. You know what to do. If you like the video, just a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. It will definitely help me in the long run. And let's just take for that. And with that, Lima Bravo 6 Quebec Juliet is signing off. And this frequency is available.